chapter 5, beloved. And always, we are going to start from verse 1. See if I do want to go back. That out. All right. So Deuteronomy chapter 5, and we're going to start at verse 1, Deuteronomy chapter 5, and we, of course, are going to start at verse 1.
Moses called all Israel and said unto them, Hear, O Israel, the statutes and judgments which I speak in your ears this day, that ye may learn them and keep and do them. Yahweh our God made a covenant with us in Horeb.
All right, let me ask the question, what is he talking about? All right, so Moses calling all the elders and everything. He's saying, here, the statute and judgment I'm speaking to you. All right, that you what? Learn them, keep them, do them. That's the order. You need to learn it because you can't keep what you didn't learn. You can't do, right, those things that you didn't learn as well. All right, so to keep it and do it, practice it, you need to learn it. So this is why we have classes and things like that, because we have to learn the information before we can apply the information. All right, but verse 2, all right. Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb. What is he talking about? What covenant did he make with us in Horeb? Did I stomp y'all on that one?
Oh no, you talking about the covenant between the Most High and God's children?
Yes. What covenant is that? Because there's multiple covenants per se, right? Is he talking about the covenant that he made, with Abraham, right? Our nation, you be blessed. Is he talking about that?
Hmm.
What covenant is he referring to? You're not wrong, sis. I'm just telling you which one. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the giving of the law.
Mm-hmm. Right. And where's that? When was that given? When you talking about the law? What law? Right. What's that place? What do they call it? What do we call it a lot of times? Well, usually everybody kind of calls it this. Okay, let's say somebody has no idea. They never read what we read, and you say when they gave them the law. When was the law given? I ain't trying to trick you. You're right, sis. You're
Mount
right.
Sinai.
All right. The ones in Mount Sinai, but they'll still refer to as that. Yes. Okay. But let's look. We're gonna look at a little more. All right. Let's keep reading. You're gonna see it runs right into it. But we did get matter of fact, let me see if I can just find in there. What'd you say? Are you saying something, Brother Kai?
No, I ain't saying that.
Because it refers to it as that name, and that was one of the tricky things when I was looking at it before. Like I said, Horeb, but we use Sinai, but we're gonna see a lot of them say it goes by sometimes two different names. There's another thing with Horeb. Oh man, I can't think of it though. All right, but that's for another time. All right, but let's keep reading. Let's keep reading. So he said, "Speak in the ears of the day that ye may learn and keep them. How our God made a covenant with us in Horeb." All right, so he made a covenant with us. How did he make a covenant with us? Let's keep reading.
And Yahweh made not this covenant with our fathers, but
Mhm.
with us, even us, who are all of us here alive this day. Yahweh talked with you face to face in the mount out of the midst of the fire.
So we know when this happened, right? When did he talk out face to face with us in the midst of the fire? All right. Now, some people have to understand because a lot of time when we read Exodus 20, we forget or sometimes we have a picture or a vision how it went, right? Remember, there was parameters. They blocked off the mount. Remember, it was smoking, all those kind of things. So that's why you have to remember when they're saying that is still referencing that point. All right. So he made a covenant with our fathers, but with us, even us, who are all of us here alive this day. Okay. And that one's kind of weird. I go where sis is going, like, wait, we know our fathers got that. All right. But it was a problem instituted to us, and we was going to get this thing if we kept everything we were supposed to keep on our end. All right. But like always, with every generation, things that nature, we do get these laws, commandments, and rules that get set in place. Those that refuse it can get wiped out. All right. Or and those that keeps it, right, we get the blessings, things of that nature. Okay, so that's always been a thing. He set before you. This is what he talks about. He set before you good and evil. That's him giving us the rules and dynamics we ought to live by. If we accept it, blessings. All right. If we refuse it, cursings. Right. So, and this is something, beloved, that just don't happen to that generation that got it in Exodus or when we get the Ten Commandments. Some people think, oh, no, that stuff is still passing down. All right. We talk about the curse in Deuteronomy, all those kind of things. That's part of it. All right. So that still applies to us today. We being obedient or not. We can get some of the blessings. If we're not, then the curses. So it's not just for those that heard it. All right. Because remember, you're supposed to hear it, and then we're supposed to what? Teach it to the next generation. So it's passing down. Right. And this is how we will somewhat enter into a covenant with him. Okay. And there's other things too, but just keep it simple with that on the surface. All right. We can keep going if nobody have anything.
Stood between Yahweh and you at that time to shew you the word of Yahweh, for you were afraid by reason of the fire, and went not up into the mount, saying, I am Yahweh thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage.
Mhm. Once again, he's given another point. I stood between Yahweh you got at that time to show you the words of Yahweh. So we know this got to be talking about Moses, right? Ye were afraid by reason of fire and went not up into the mount. All right. So you were scared when you seen that fire. You did not want to go to that mount. And remember, they were saying they were scared. We don't want to talk to God no more, right? Because first of all, we want to talk to God. Then it's like, oh, when he came with all that, they're like, man, they got scared. Like, we don't want to deal with him no more. Now, Moses, we'll just listen to you. Okay. I'm Yahweh your God, which brought thee, listen, out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. And so we're going to see that what? He's about to rehearse it again. Okay. So we see also Exodus 20, right? It happened, getting that covenant. And then now we're seeing it rehearsed again in Deuteronomy 5. They basically give you like almost like a flashback and tell you what's play by play what's happening. Okay. So this is very, very important, beloved. When we are reading that Ten Commandments, while we do it every Sabbath, is so we don't forget the covenant that we are entering into. Right? This was a covenant that we entered into. So talk about reading our rights and all that kind of stuff. So you know the contract. This is what we're saying we shall do. Okay. Don't want to go there. Yes. All right. So let's hold this real quick. We'll come back to this. Because at this time, right, it was a mixed multitude. Okay. And showing you this is enter into a covenant. And some people are like, oh, that's Israel. But the other people and stuff, they don't have to do it or uphold it. Okay. Let's see. The Bible says, let me make sure I got the right one. Start from verse 1. Deuteronomy 29. Let's start from verse 1.
These are the words of the covenant which Yahweh commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab, beside the covenant which he had made with them in Horeb.
All right. Let's keep going.
And Moses called unto all Israel and said unto them, Ye have seen all that Yahweh did before your eyes in the land of Egypt, unto Pharaoh and unto all his servants and unto all his land.
All right. Now I just want to make sure you see how these are covenants. He's saying the words I'm speaking, this is covenant too. Besides the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. So when we look at the Ten Commandments, some people are like, oh yeah, that's the 10, that's the ultimate thing, that's the covenant. It's all these other words, they're covenants too. You have to do these two. They just, oh, I'm gonna do the 10. I'm gonna ignore it. No, this is all into that covenant. We got to live by what? Every word that's coming out of his mouth. All right. So yes, that is a covenant, ain't just the only one. However, if you understand those 10 and everything, it does encompass everything. Okay. We'll say that for another time. Let's keep going. Verse 3.
The great temptations which thine eyes have seen, the signs and those great miracles.
Mm-hmm.
Yet Yahweh have not given you a heart to perceive, and eyes to see, and ears to hear unto this day.
Lord has said he haven't given you that. A heart to perceive. And this is what we got to understand, beloved. If the Most High do not get involved, if you don't open up your mind, open up your understanding, right, you will not get it or you will not receive it. This is why I say it's not an accident that you come into the truth and you understand this covenant and say, I want to do it. That's not an accident. All right. He has to what? He has to give you this. Say, I didn't give it to you, but that means he has to what? He has to give you a heart to perceive. He has to give you eyes to see. He has to give you ears to hear. Because beloved, we can tell people and talk about it, and they will not get it. They will just not understand it. They will just refuse it. It's not about man's wisdom that you get these things, beloved. It's about the heart. You being sincere and the Most High opening that thing up to you to do his hurt. He has to what? Draw you. His words draws you and compels us to do it. But if the Most High don't do it, beloved, that's it. And this is where we have to understand, even when we're ministering and things and trying to help people and encourage them to serve the Lord, right? If the Most High don't want them in, guess what? No matter what you do, won't do anything. And I say this because some of us might be harsh on ourselves, like, man, maybe it's me, maybe my spirit's off, maybe I didn't say the right words and everything, right? Sometimes not that, it's just not the Most High the same. Nope. And that might seem harsh, right? But the Most High chooses who's his. And we just have to what? Accept his will. But let's keep going, Brother Kai. Verse 5.
And I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your clothes are not waxing old upon you, and thy shoe is not waxing old upon thy foot.
Mm-hmm.
Ye have not eaten bread, neither have ye drank wine or strong drink, that ye might know that I am Yahweh your God.
Let's keep going.
And when ye came unto this place, Sihon, the king of Heshbon, and Og, the king of Bashan, came out against us unto battle, and we smote them. And we took their land, and gave it for an inheritance unto the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to the half tribe of Manasseh.
Mm-hmm.
Keep therefore the words of this covenant, and do them, that ye may prosper in all that ye do.
All right. So remember, beloved, once again, you see it all the time. They're recapping and reiterating the same points. Okay. So in Mount Horeb, all right, also known as Mount Sinai. All right. So that's very important. We didn't know. Mount Horeb also can be referred to as Mount Sinai because that's where we got the Ten Commandments. Okay. So this is a little fun fact because, like I said, right with sis, like, wait up, Mount Horeb is Mount Sinai, right? It's not used as another name as Mount Sinai. Okay. But we're looking at it the same thing. He's walking it down, how things happen, all right, to keep us in remembrance. Not that the Most High forgot. Sometimes we forget about the things that the Most High has given us, all right? But keep therefore the words of this covenant and do them, and ye may prosper in all that ye do, okay? So, yes, there were covenants in the Ten Commandments. That's bang, a covenant. But then we start talking about other things. They're like, oh, that ain't in the Ten Commandments. I don't got to do it. That's not really. No, he says the other words, right? Other words are a covenant as well. See, now then you're gonna have to play this game of, well, I'm gonna do this part of, I'm gonna do this covenant because I feel this is important, but this one I'm just gonna discard. See, now that ain't how covenant's going. All right, that's not how it goes. But let's keep going. Wait up, give me 10. Listen to this, 10, 11.
You stand this day, all of you, before Yahweh your God, your captains of your tribes, your elders, and your officers, with all the men of Israel, your little ones, your wives, and thy stranger that is in thy camp,
Mm-hmm.
the hewer of thy wood unto the drawer of thy water.
So people saying, when it says Israel, all right, yes, talk about the nation of Israel, but who's encompassed in the nation of Israel, beloved? Is it just strictly Israelites from one of the 12 tribes? That's not all of them. Okay, just want to keep it there. Listen to what he says. I'm reading it again. Your captains of your tribes, your elders, your officers, with all the men of Israel, your little ones, that's your children, your wives, and what? The stranger. It's showing you these things, beloved. So when we look at things, I'm just showing this is not, this is just for your knowledge just to know. There were always other people mixed with us. Because people like to play the game when they come out mixed multitude and whatever. No, there was people that came out with us that was not of the stock of Israel. However, if they join or cleave themselves to Israel, what they must do? They must adhere to this as well. Not only be crazy, we can't steal, commit adultery, all that stuff, but now some stranger or coming and they can just do whatever. That makes sense. It's gonna be ridiculous. Okay. So if they were with us, they had to abide by what? The rules. That's why it's one law for all. No, they have the same thing they have to abide with. Okay. Where we leave off at?
Come on, the last chapter of this chapter.
This one. So the Hero. Okay, read verse 12. Read verse 12.
That thou shouldest enter into covenant with Yahweh thy God, and into his oath which Yahweh thy God maketh with thee this day.
So this was doing what? Entering into the covenant. So it wasn't just Israel. No, there were some strangers entering into that covenant. They was ones to say, yeah, I'll do it. Okay. So just a little FYI. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 5. On the same thing. Somebody come in, they have to abide by what? The rules. They have to enter into the covenant. All right. Now we know in the covenant there are certain particulars and things of that nature, right? That's just is what it is. But if you're gonna come in it, you gotta accept all that comes with it. Okay. All right, Brother Kai. Yeah, Deuteronomy 5, and we left off at
7, 6 or 7.
All right, let's go to 7.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Mm-hmm.
Thou shalt not make thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters beneath the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Thou
And
shalt
you're
not.
gonna see, I'm sorry, real quick, because Kyrie is every week, right? But we're gonna see just sometimes there's little verbiage of how they do it, but it's the same thing, beloved.
Same thing.
Right? Because some people get crazy when words say, "Oh, see, they change." It's the same thing. It's the
Yep.
10th commandment. I hate that I have to do that with y'all because I know you're not like that, but you're gonna run sometimes across people that's just so just rebellious in nature and always just trying to find a reason for something. All right. But yes, some of the wording can change, just like you'll see in certain writings, there's certain wordings that can change, but you can see it's the same context, the same stuff that's being taught. Okay. All right. Sorry, y'all.
No, you good. Verse 9. Thou shalt not bow down thyself unto them, nor serve them, for I Yahweh thy God am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
All right. And this is so important. Understanding. He gives you the nature, the characteristics of jealousy, beloved. Right? People say, "Oh, I'm taking that serious." Do y'all do we understand when somebody's jealous? Right? You don't want to mess around once you feel like somebody's jealous. They got jealousy on them. And remember, God got a righteous jealousy, not no boyfriend or some jealousy, whatever, right? But he takes this stuff very serious when we are dealing or even making the appearance that we're dealing with another God. He takes that personal. But listen, he's fair and he's transparent with us. He's saying, yes, I'm a jealous God. And guess what? I will visit the iniquities of the fathers upon the children. And he tells you how long? Third and fourth generation. Think about that, beloved, 3 or 4 generations. That give you 100 plus years of just what? I remember of them that what? Hate me. So yeah, that stuff passed down, but guess what? You always put a caveat. And I also will show mercy to thousands that love me and keep my commandments. That's still in effect. Even when Christ comes to see the same thing. That mercy that was come through Christ, right? That was for what? Those that love him and keep his commandments. You can gravitate to that mercy and get it if you love him and keep his commandments. Same message. His covenant didn't just expire. Nope. Same thing, beloved. All right. All right. Anybody got anything? If not, we shall keep going.
Thou shalt not take the name of Yahweh thy God in vain, for Yahweh will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as Yahweh thy God hath commanded thee.
So we want to keep the Sabbath day, but before that, let's go to the next one. One before it. Thou shalt not take the name of Yahweh thy God in vain. All right. Why is that important, right? Think about a marriage. Usually you'll take the husband's name, right? Ladies, usually that happens, even though nowadays things are switching where they're hyphenated and stuff like that, right? Primarily you'll take that name. Okay. When we think about the Lord, we take his name when we enter into his covenant. How? Because what label do we get addressed? Y'all remember with the covenant? What do we get called now? He said he will be our what? Starts with a G. And he said, and ye will be my what? Anybody remember?
Your God and people.
Yes. Perfect. I will be your God and ye shall be my people. Always the big thing when it comes to getting into a covenant. That's the whole point. Now he's our God. Now when we call upon, he can hear us. He deals with us. Everybody do not have that access. Okay, beloved, that's not an access that everybody just gets. No, but when we are his people, when we get in that covenant, now he said, I'm your God. Okay, but the relationship change. You're gonna be my people. So y'all see the difference? Non-covenant, that's my God. You can say whatever you want. You have to enter into a covenant. Now it's an arrangement. Now it's a contract. When we sign it, we're saying you're going to be my God. And we're going to be your people. And just worldly understanding, right? When they deal with God, if you're his people, that means what? He's going to have favor on you. He's going to treat you a certain way. He's going to protect you. He's going to take care of you, provide for you, all those things. But that is part of the what? Entering into the covenant. That's the benefits. They say, what should I, how should I even praise him for all the benefits that we receive from the Most High God? Everybody do not. He's the God of everybody, yeah. As in, he's just God of the world. But beloved, everybody don't get that kind of relationship. That comes from covenanting only, not coveting as from entering into a covenant. All right. So think about this. So when we are not doing these things, we're saying what? We don't want you to be our God. We don't want to be your people. That's what sin is doing. It's pulling and messing up that relationship that we have with them. Okay. But when we're doing right, guess what? We didn't break the cup. We didn't break the contract. So he's upholding his side of the contract. Okay. So we don't want to take his name, what, in vain. You don't want to say your people are doing all this and doing it for nothing, just so you can go out and be like everybody else in the world. Just be like everybody else in the world. Okay. So when we take on that name, saying, Lord, we want to acknowledge you and we want to honor you as our God and praise you as our God. And we want to be your people. We want to be children of the Most High God. We don't want to take that for nothing, for naught, or in vain. Okay? For why? The Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Don't just, oh, I want to get in this covenant, or oh, I'm going through something, or this and that. I just need God to give me, a little bit of help here, and then I'm gonna go back to it. Oh, no, don't take it in vain. He said, I ain't gonna hold you guiltless. Don't think you just gonna be innocent. You enter this covenant just running off. Mm-mm. Same thing. We should understand this even with Christ, right? When we taking that bread and that wine, right? We entered into something. And he said, many be what? Many be sleeping, as in, dead, right? Many be sick among you. These are reactions, or, the consequences of taking the name and then discarding it. You will not be guiltless. Do not think you're going to be innocent. Do not think God is going to be, oh, okay, well, they just want to get out of it. Okay, there will be a punishment. And a lot of things we see in beloved, I know our hearts, we feel bad about a lot of things, and it's a good heart to have, you feel sorry for people, but you have to understand, beloved, everybody's innocent. Some people willingly took this stuff on, but try to receive the things of God and then say, nope, I don't want to deal with this. I want to do what I want to do. And then what? Those consequences of not having God as your God start to happen. And that's the reality of it. We get a lot of blessings and favor when we in God's stead, right? When he put us as his people. But as soon as we step out of that, all right. And another writer said he took the hedge from around us. Right? He took that fence that protect. He took all that from us. Said, "Oh, you don't want my protection. You don't want me to keep you. Okay, I'll take my hedge of protection around from off you." And he said, "Now everybody gonna take advantage of you because sometimes we think it was our favorite and all this stuff that we got favored with the nations, all that stuff." He said it was all me. What have they done to my vineyard? Okay, y'all remember that lesson, right? But let's keep going, Brother Kai, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Keep thy Sabbath day to sanctify it, all right? Or in other words, what he said, keep it holy, all right? So you see, this one means sanctify. Sanctify means what? What does it mean to sanctify? Something, beloved. Who can help me out with that? Somebody said, what does it mean to sanctify? What does that mean? Nobody know what sanctify means? Somebody look it up. Somebody look it up. What does it mean to sanctify? All right. Sanctify is to set it apart, beloved, to set it apart. Okay. He sanctify us. And I think another verse might even say like sever us, right? Divide, right? So he sanctified us, he set us apart. This is what this day is supposed to do. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify, to set it apart. See, you look at the world and they're trying to create other Sabbath days. They're trying to do all these other things, right? God got his Sabbath day, right, on the weekly Sabbath, and then he got yearly Sabbaths. We see the world have what? A Sabbath that they made, and they have Sabbaths, annual Sabbaths that they have made. Okay? But this is why he's telling you, keep it. A lot of times when we're looking around, we can see that a lot of people failing this that say they're believers because they're not keeping it, not acknowledging it. It says what? To learn so that you can keep and do these commandments. So you need to learn what the Sabbath day is for you can what? Do it, or to sanctify, to keep it. And this is something beloved, that I say you look at the patterns. Satan likes to get right close, right? He likes to get close to that you. He want to make something mimic. He always trying to mimic God with certain things, right? So we know the Sabbath day, Saturday, he does what? He makes it Sunday for a lot of the world. We know the days or the holy days that are be kept annually. Satan got his days for the world to keep annually. Okay, so it's a lot of when you see like there's always mimicking something, but we have to what? That's why I tell you, you need to keep it, you need to sanctify. You got to set this thing apart. And there's other things that I don't think we really dived into what God does for that. When He sanctifies something for a purpose, it's something spiritual that He put on this day. Think about this, beloved. He put something spiritual to separate this from each other every other day. Right? He makes it very convenient, but I think there's even spiritual ramifications for keeping the Sabbath day and sanctifying it. Don't you think He put something in it for His people? Now, it's not saying, well, you get some people arguing, oh, you can't get God on any day. You can't read. Nah, you can read, you can do whatever you want every day, but you can't keep the covenant how we told you to keep it on any day because that's not how it's set up. Can't keep the Sabbath. No. You got to do it the way He told you and how to do it. That's keeping it holy. Keeping it unholy is doing it how you want to do it. And the days is one part, right? But keeping it holy is doing it how the Most High instructed for us to do it. That's where the power and stuff comes from, beloved. How He's telling us to do it. And I want to show y'all something with keep. Let me get my blue letter. Right, Deuteronomy chapter 5. All right. So we read that was Deuteronomy 5 and verse 12. They talked about this before, but just so we can see it again, another reference point. All right. Told y'all how to use this. 12. All right. I'm looking at that word keep, okay, because that's one I like looking at. And you see how it is there. And this is not paleo, just to get about it. This ain't the paleo, the old Hebrew. This is more modern Hebrew. All right. So will be a little different if you're looking at the Hebrew in them. Okay. So when you look at this word, you see these kind of definitions. It can be to keep, to guard, observe, or give heed. Right. And you see these are the biblical use. That same word can be keep. It was keep 283 times. The word observe. So some words can have different what meanings behind it. All right. Or uses, I should say, different uses behind it. So this word samar, okay, or shamar can be keep, observe, heed, all these kind of things. So think about this, beloved, because sometimes the writers, right, they're not wrong with sometimes they put it. Sometimes they could be better words, or another way of looking at it. I'm looking at it as it's to keep it, right? We know to keep it, but also, beloved, we have to look at it like we're guarding it. We have to guard this thing. What are we guarding from? We're guarding from all these things that's not like God. Okay? When you start to keep the Sabbath, it seems like what? Everything is trying to get you away from it. It could be your partner, it could be friends, it could be loved ones, it could be your job. Everything is trying to draw you from keeping this day holy or sanctified. You have to guard the commandments. Okay, that's why I keep it. You have to, it's one thing to hold it, but then you got to guard it because there's all these things in this world is trying to grab these things away from you. It does not want you to keep these things of God. But if we keep these things, if we guard these things, guess what? Now the Most High can be dwelling in us, and He will strengthen us. He will not forsake us when we're what? Trying to what? Guard and keep the commandments. All right. So And this is what, like we said, the mercy comes with it. Keep the commandments day to sanctify it as Yahweh your God hath commanded thee. And that's all it is. You don't got to go all over the Bible. The Lord commanded it. That's why I'm doing it, because he commanded this. Now, if you want to go to, somebody go to church every day, but it don't take away from doing this. And you'll see some people, well, I go to church 2, 3, 4 times. That's all good. But he told you have to keep this day. All right? We can go to church every day. I don't care if you at church 6 days a week. If you're not doing that Sabbath day, that's a problem. Because the covenant agreed that we will do the Sabbath day. You can give more, can't give less. Right? But there's one day that he sanctified it, because he sanctified it and set it apart. He set it for his people. I told you, with everything he does, it's a purpose. Okay? This is a sign for his people. So you should not be getting confused, or if you go with, I'm not even gonna call them no names, but you go with certain stuff. Well, do I believe, is this the person of God, all that stuff? Go with the sign. Because now it's not ignorance. Well, Lord, he had the Bible. Man, he knew all these stuff. He know how to break all this stuff down. You know how to break everything down but the clear sign. The sign is for others to be able to see as well, beloved. Wait up, you do the Sabbath, that's different. Yeah. That's what's supposed to be coming when people of the world doing, wait up, my Sabbath? Sunday. That it's supposed to be that separation. But we have to uphold it and do our job, beloved. This is part of letting your light so shine that men can see it. Okay? But let's keep going. That ain't this lesson right now. All right? Where we at, Brother Kai?
Verse 13.
Oh, okay.
6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy ox, nor thy ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates, that thou manservant and thy maidservant may rest well as thou.
So you see, it gave that little, I told you some of the wording get changed, but this is giving us sometimes good insight where people sometimes try to wiggle out. Okay, so you got 6 days to do your labor or your work. All right, that's where you do all your work. Try to exhaust stuff. You do everything you want to do. You can work as hard as you want, how many hours you want. You got those 6 days. Okay, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of Yahweh thy God. All right, this day belongs to the Lord. All right, in it, during this day, during this process of time, right, thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter. And I'm like, why are you going to all these details? Because, beloved, he knows us. I can't work, but guess what? I'm gonna get my son's brother. He's like, nah. That ain't how it goes. All right. Well, I'm not gonna cut the grass, but I'm gonna get my son to go cut the grass for me. Nah. So your son can't work, your daughter can't work, and guess what? Even your maid and maid servants. All right. You might have hired maids. Maybe you got that money. You got a hired chef and all that kind of. Guess what? They don't do nothing for you on Sabbath. Okay. So he's saying, nope, they got to be off. The ox and the ass. Now, beloved, why is he using ox and ass? Why is he saying that? Is he saying that you can't, I came to kind of get, yeah. Why is he saying nor the ox, nor the ass, nor the cattle? Some people like, man, I don't know if I can feed, these like animals, I maybe have a dog. I mean, I can't feed my dog. Is that what he's saying? I can't feed the cattle? What is he saying, beloved?
No, but it's like your machine's working for you.
Yes. Okay. You have to look at I told you the context, look at the timing, right? The oxen, the ass, they'll use those. Okay. They're using them to do what? Work. That's the context going. Remember, don't lose the context. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all that work. Now you see that. Remember, I told you the colons. So what's happening? What's said here is going to be explained after it. So they go into detail of how you can't work. So he's explaining you can't work, but also these things, because a lot of people had their children working for them. No, you can't get them to work on the Sabbath either. That's part, that'll be considering work. You can't get the children, you can't get the maid servants. He said you can't get the ox or the right. You can't get that much to do it. Okay, no, they're all off too. These are things under your power that you can do. He said no. Okay. And once again, it's because they are doing the work aspect. Okay. It's a lot of other animals, but you're usually not getting them to work and do certain things. All right. Feeding them is not what he's talking about. You can feed your kids, you can feed them, right? It ain't a fasting day. Okay. Because everybody's trying to throw everything in this. This is specifically dealing with that work. All right. That's servitude. Okay. Now, beloved. Never mind, I'm not even moved to a whole damn lesson. All right. But some people they'll create all these kind of rules for it. And we want to be mindful. There are certain things, but we have to get the spirit or the intent behind the Sabbath. He wants to let you lay down all those burdens. Right? When we tired and we don't want to, right? We go from work, you work the whole shift. You're not trying to do no work. That's how he wants you to be free, your mind to be free, your burdens to be free. Because sometimes we didn't get this break, beloved. Some of us will work ourselves to death 7 days a week if we could. Okay? So he's putting this in place that you don't work, and also let people know, no, you ain't going to get other people to be working for you. So your manservant's working 7 days a week, or the stranger work. Nope, you got to let them rest too. All right? So even the one, we said it again, the stranger within your gates, they got to rest too. Oh, we just going to get the heathens to do it. Because they don't do it, we're going to get them to do it. You ain't supposed to be doing that as well. All right. The strangers within our gates, they got to keep the Sabbath, because they can't go and say, well, I want to do the Sabbath, but they say I got to work, so I got to. That's going to fall upon us. We cannot force them to work. Okay. That thy manservant and maidservant may rest as well as thou, because they was to enjoy the rest as well. All right. Anybody got anything before we keep going? All right. Kai, let's keep going then.
And remember that thou was a servant in the land of Egypt, and that Yahweh thy God brought thee out thence through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore Yahweh thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day.
Remember, hold on, Brother Kai. Remember that thou was a servant in the land of Egypt. Because one thing, sometimes how quick you will forget things, beloved, we are quick at forgetting things. He said, I want you to remember you was a servant in Egypt. You should know how it feels not to get breaks, to be worn out. You should know those things. And when you get in some kind of authority and power, you should remember those things. Okay? So this is also very important, not just for Sabbath, but just in general, beloved. When you get those jobs where you supervise, you over other people, you know how it felt. You know how a burden was when you had a bad supervisor or a bad boss, and when they treated you bad, talked to you bad, right? So don't get in that position and you forgetting that, and you start treating them the same way of the leader that you despised, right? We want to keep these moments and experiences so that we can be better, beloved. No point in you going through all that and you forgetting it. So he wants us to remember when we was that. Remember when you was in that bonds and that servitude, and you was a stranger in a strange land, and how you was treated. So when you coming up and now don't try to do the same thing to them. Okay. So I love that the Most High gives us these kind of tools and helps us. And we'll see a lot of people, beloved. We will see them change, right? You know how it was to not have, some money, and then you get money, you start doing good. Now you start treating other people better. Okay. Some people, you'll see it. They get it. They never have that power, and they get that sniff of that power, and they start acting up. Okay. That should not be us. All right. And he said, for this, all right, I rescued you and I took you out. Therefore, all right, listen, God brought thee out thence through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. All right, he delivered us out of Egypt. Therefore, all right, because of that, the Lord thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day. Okay, What's one of the big arguments that people use for the Sabbath day? Right? Even when they're keeping it. Oh, we do that because we was told in Genesis to keep the Sabbath day. Or remember the Sabbath, keep it holy. Okay, yep, that is true. But do this talk about Genesis, beloved? What did this give us a reference to as well? That verse 15. Is this dealing with God resting on the Sabbath day? Read 15 again, Brother Kai.
And remember that thou was a servant in the land of Egypt, and that Yahweh thy God brought thee out thence through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore Yahweh thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day.
Why did he command us to keep the Sabbath day? According to this verse. Add a little caveat to this, didn't he? Mm-hmm. He said when this was done, he referencing Egypt. Okay? And I told you with some things, beloved, it has multiple breakdowns with it, multiple understandings. Okay? So one was dealing with, remember the Sabbath day, we know, okay, we got the creation, right? Keeping the holy, sanctified that day. Now, the present time is they got out of Egypt. He's saying, this is why I'm going to use Sabbath day as well. And then we have a futuristic aspect of the Sabbath day. Okay? So when we're looking at these, I told you there's different things that sometimes we don't understand. So some people say, well, I'm just keeping it because it was in the beginning. Nah, he's also telling you there's not just one meaning behind it. Okay? So he did this for us. Even delivering us, he delivered us from Egypt so that we can do this. Because we was crying. Because remember, it was rigor. I believe that's Exodus 1, right? We were serving with rigor. It was hard bondage. What's one of the best things you can get, beloved, when you go through hard bondage? A break, a rest. So I took you out, so now you can rest. And now what do Israel want to do? We want to work. We want to do everything on the Sabbath. All right? But that's just showing you the spirit behind it. But we have to protect it, okay, for our benefit. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Honor thy father and thy mother as Yahweh thy God hath commanded thee, that thy days may be prolonged, that it may go well with thee in the land which Yahweh thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, neither shalt thou commit adultery.
All right. So honor thy father and thy mother. We know that thy days may be long. That is a commandment with promise. All right. That the days may be prolonged, that it may go well with thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Beloved, when you see, let's just think about this. If you have a nation that is okay with not honoring their mother and their father, compared to a nation that reverence and show honor to mother and father, which one do you think is probably chaotic and which one is probably more peaceful? Right? This you gotta say it's a spirit behind it, beloved. When children, usually when they're rejecting their authority, their mother and father, right? Usually you're gonna see that usually ain't nothing that can basically tame them. All right. You know, you're in school and that kid said, you ain't my mom, you ain't gonna do nothing to me, right? You do those things, it's a certain demeanor. And sometimes they don't even listen to their mom and dad. But when they lose that thing, they're losing, they don't have that authority, they don't have that reference to submit under authority, it gets very chaotic. Right? And even when it comes to the streets, the same thing, beloved. A lot of them saying, boy, these young boys is crazy. They different. They are wild, these young boys. Why? Because they what? They don't have order. A lot of them don't what they call back, they don't have the OGs over them. Right? The elder, even though they not directed the young brothers and everything the right way, but they will have some kind of order and structure. But when you knock out the order and structure, that authority, now they just running loose doing whatever. And this is what the Most High was doing, that we may be prolonged, that we may live peacefully there. So he putting these things in play. Can't have kids that's going out disrespecting their mom and dad. Right? So they must honor it so they what? So we can have prolonged life. We can have that good life in the land. All right, I'm not gonna break down killing and committing adultery. Let's keep going. Sure, our time is right. Yeah, okay. Let's keep going, Brother Kai.
Uh, neither shalt thou steal, neither shalt thou bear false witness against thy neighbor, neither shalt thou desire thy neighbor's wife, neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's house, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox, or his ass, or anything that is thy neighbor's.
Read the same way. All right, not to be desiring, and it's not just time. Oh, they got they got a nice house, man. I want a nice house one day. Nah, they ain't talking about that kind of stuff. All right, you got that unlawful desire going to by any means that say this belongs to them, but I want to take what belongs to them. All right, don't be coveting what somebody else have. All right, you could be admonished, you could be admired, you could be inspired. Okay, but when you get to this level where you're gonna, you desire it, right? You're gonna go through any means to get that thing. That's where you can be touching that law. All right. That's your neighbors, belongs to him. Let's keep going.
These words Yahweh spake unto all your assembly in the mount, out of the midst of the fire, of the cloud, and of the thick darkness, with a great voice, and he added no more. And he wrote them in 2 tables of stone, and delivered them unto me.
All right. So once again, reiterating, this is referring to the Ten Commandments. Okay. So once again, it was a mist of fire, cloud, and I believe it was lightning as well. Okay. Believe it was lightning as well, when that happened. Okay. But let's keep going. Let's keep going.
It came to pass, when you heard the voice out of the midst of the darkness, for the mountain did burn with fire, that ye came near unto me, even all the heads of your tribes and your elders. And ye said, Behold, Yahweh our God hath showed us his glory and his greatness, and we have heard his voice out of the midst of the fire. We have seen this day that God doth talk with man, and he liveth.
Okay. So once again, tell you what happened. All right. And all the tribes, they all witnessed this and all this spectacle. The thunder, it was like I make sure I went back to it. Lightning, thunder. And remember, the mountain was smoking as they talk about the fire. It was smoking and everything. So it was a big spectacle. They're like, listen, we saw the glory. All right. One thing they ain't denying, we saw this. Okay. And this ain't no movie thing, no special effects. No, don't think these guys were stupid. They know something from a little fire and a whole mountain on fire. Okay. And this thing wasn't, there ain't no microphones and no kind of faking stuff. They all witness it. They all understand this is truly God. God never dealt with anybody like this. All right. On this kind of scale. Okay. As a nation, this is huge. Let's keep going, Brother Kai.
Now therefore, why should we die? For this great fire will consume us. If we hear the voice of Yahweh our God any more, then we shall die.
You keep
For who
going.
said of all flesh, they have heard the voice of the living God speaking out of the midst of the fire, as we have and lived. Go thou, go thou near. Fuck it. Go. I missed my spot. So
27. Now you good.
yeah, I'm reading from the phone. So
Uh,
go thou near and hear all that Yahweh our God shall say, and speak thou unto us all that Yahweh our God shall speak unto thee, and we will hear it and do it.
It's very important, beloved. Why do you think he made this spectacle? Why do you think he showed up to him like this? Because they was crying, they were doubting, and he knew he knew their level where they was at, beloved. They was in that wickedness and stuff, all that. So he knew what they had. And remember, they was murmuring against. Remember all these kind of things, beloved. Because people, they happy when it's things they want to do. Okay, that makes sense. That's good. Ooh, I don't know about that. You know what? He might be making that up. Do you ever think? What about Moses is making? And you know how we get to talking. And after a while, it's nah, it ain't God talking. This is Moses coming up with all this stuff and doing these things. All right. So God did that thing to show, nope, this how I do it. This how I do it. Moses ain't like this is all this stuff coming from me. And it scared them so much they're like, nah, we ain't trying to experience that again. Next time something like that happened, we gonna die. They had that much sense. They feared it that much. Now we gonna die. But he did this for them. And this is something hopefully for faith that can hold them. But listen, beloved, even with that spectacle, beloved, they did what? they, they went off. But I got to get right back. They still went off. So people saying, "Oh well, if I had this thing or God spoke to me like this, I would." No, you wouldn't. I know we like to think it will change things. It won't. You can walk on water, and guess what? You can stuff down belief and deny God. You can see miracles on that. You will still unbelief and deny God. Right? I know we want to, and that's why God has these examples to let you know no matter what I do, if you don't want to believe, you can find a reason. And that's all it is, beloved. People can find so many reasons why not to maybe come to church or read the Bible. Well, it's this, they throw all these different excuses. Okay? And sometimes the Most High be merciful and try to help with certain things, beloved. But at the end of the day, okay, when it's all said and done, okay, it's going to come down to having that faith, believing God, and walking out with God. All right, walking out in that faith with Him. But the devil will always, and not even the devil, the Most High will always make room. If you don't want to believe, He'll make space if you need a reason why not to believe. Oh, because man wrote the book, right? You hear this all this kind of stuff. Well, we don't know about this, and we can always make an excuse of why not. Okay, but beloved, we don't want to go down that rabbit hole. We don't want to do those things. We want to be obedient to what He's saying. All right, and better those that believe the word. We hear the word and believe. That's what it's about. Okay, but if you are lacking that faith and the word is not good for you, you can advocate to the Father. Ask Christ, help me, help my unbelief. And He might give you something. I'm not negating. He might give you a dream or something. He might do something, right? Shake it up. But, our thing is we should be believing the words. That's what He gave for us to believe. Okay. Let's keep going.
And Yahweh heard the voice of your words when you spake unto me. And Yahweh said unto me, I have heard the voice of the words of this people, which they have spoken unto thee. They have well said all that they have spoken.
It was like, man, we don't want to hear from you. We probably die. We do that. No, Moses, we'll deal with you. Oh, okay. Yeah, y'all spoke well. Okay. Because see, people, beloved, I want you to people will do these things. They'll play these games. Cry, cry, cry for something. You get it. Now they trying to switch up. No, we don't want to hear from them. Well, now Moses, we'll deal with you. We just want to hear from you. No, y'all didn't want to hear just from me. This is why we at this point now. But this is the games that people play sometimes. Okay. But Moses, all right, you spoke well. All right. So they were speaking right. Let's keep going.
Oh, that there were such an heart in them, that they would fear me and keep all my commandments always, that it
Mm,
may be well with them and with their children forever.
mm. That's a lot, beloved. All right. And this goes back to Kai, can you give me the Abraham with the circumcision? Is that Genesis 17?
Yeah, 15 or
Let me see.
17. Yeah, 17.
Let me look at that real quick. All right. But this is very important, beloved. Oh, that there was such an heart in man. All right. I made the heart. You're talking about the mindset. All right. That spirit. The spirit in man that they would fear me and keep all my commandments always. That it might be well with them and with their children forever. And that's the spirit we're supposed to be getting, beloved. That's what the Holy Spirit going to do, right? It gives us that mind, that heart to fear Him and keep His commandments. So things can be well with us and our children. Okay? That is the point of it. That's the gist of it. But man, man is so stubborn and stiff-necked. Okay?
17 and 7.
17 and 7. All right, you already know the verse I want. Praise. Let's go to Genesis 17 real quick. Genesis 17. Genesis 17. I want to find that family one too. But go ahead. Start there. Because that is what I want. Give me 17 and 7.
And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee and their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee and to thy seed after thee.
All right, so the point is what? That they be a God, that he be a God unto us, and we what? And to thy seed after thee, that he will keep that relationship as a God. That is that's the big part of the covenant, beloved. All right. How long will this expire? No, this is supposed to be an everlasting covenant. Okay. So what I tell you, right? We entered into it, right? When we got the commandments, we're entering into that covenant. And then we supposed to what? Teach the next generation, which will put them what? Into that covenant. That what? God will just transfer. When we die, what? It's transferred right to the kids. They got it. And they teach their kids. It's transferring down. That's how that was supposed to be the what? The pattern that's supposed to go across. And we will always keep God within the seed as long as we did those things. Okay. Now let's go to the next. I have to go with my Bible. All right. Let's go to chapter 18. Some things I only know in certain parts of my Bible. I knew where it was at in my Bible. All right. 18 in verse 18. All right. We're going to next chapter, Genesis 18. Genesis 18. And matter of fact, start from 17. Genesis 18 and 17. Genesis 18 and verse 17. Listen to this, beloved.
Yahweh said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do?
Should I hide from him the things I'm going to do? Mm-hmm.
Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him.
Am I going to hide things? All right. From him, he's going to be great. All right. That's already a prophecy. He's going to be a great, blessed nation. All right. That's a question. Now read verse 19. Listen to verse 19.
For I know him that he will
Mm-hmm.
command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of Yahweh to do justice and judgment, that Yahweh may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him.
This is the point. What made Abraham special? Because he knew his heart. I know him. How does he know him? Because Abraham entered into a covenant with God. Now he's his God. He's his what? Child. That's how he gets to know you. All right. I know him. And what does he know about him? I know he will command his children and his household after him. I know his heart. I know what he's going to do. He's not somebody that's going to commit today, and then when things get rough, things get inconvenient, when I don't feel like it, when I get tired, when I get hungry, I'm just going to forget the covenant and not do what I'm supposed to do. No, I know Abraham that he is going to follow through and teach his children. And how much he's going to teach them because he ain't just going to tell them, and they shall keep the way of Yahweh. Guess what? They're going to keep it. And they're going to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken upon him. That's how this prophecy going to be fulfilled, because he's going to teach them correctly, like I told them, and they are going to serve me. I'm going to be their God and their God, and that's how they're going to become great. The greatness is in what? Presenting God to your children. And that's the blessing that passing down. We give our children everything else but what the Most High told us. That's what he's supposed to pass down. That's the inheritance he speak upon. All right. That's the thing that will keep it. That's the generational wealth that we need to be putting into our children, into the next generation. You can leave $1 million. There's plenty of people that left money and it got burnt up in less than a generation. Because what? You have to have this. This spirit in his mind had to be a certain way. Okay. So this was something that let's go back to Deuteronomy, we are supposed to be passing down this knowledge of God. All right. Because they have that relationship with God. God's going to take care of them. Okay. We do as much as we can do in this body. All right. But we're only in this body for so long. When we go, who's going to take care of them? All right. But we have a God that will last through all generations. When we far and gone, sleeping in the dirt, he can still what? Have that hedge around him, take care of him better than we ever could. So this is why we have to put that into the next generation. All right, Brother Kai. All right, so that it may be well with them and with their children forever. All right, verse 30. Let's finish it up.
Go say to them, get you into your tents again, but as for thee, stand thou here by me, and I will speak unto thee all the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which thou shalt teach them, that they may do them in the land which I give them to possess it. Ye shall observe to do therefore as Yahweh your God hath commanded you. Ye shall not turn aside to the right hand nor to the left. Ye shall walk in all the ways of Yahweh your God hath commanded you, that ye may live, and that it may be well with you, and that ye may prolong your days in the land which ye shall possess.
Amen. That's what this commandment is for, beloved. It ain't just I don't want you to think it's just to honor your mother and father, that your days may be long and prospering and stuff in the land. No, all these commandments, all right? We got to do all this. All these things will help us have a good, prosperous life, okay? Have that peace in the land, okay? When everybody's committed and submitted to these laws, statutes, and judgment that the Most High is given. Okay? All right. Anybody got anything for Deuteronomy chapter 5? We good. We good. All right. So, beloved, we'll end it there. All right. To our online family, our YouTube family, we're going to end it there. As always, we say shalom and also happy Sabbath. All right. And y'all have a thumb, which means love you all. All right. Shalom.